guys, welcome to today's video. So today I am doing my third grade wrap up. I'm going to talk about all the curriculum my third grader used this past school year, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we would change, all the things. I already made a video about my fifth graders year. And so if you want to see that, I will link that down below, and then I will still make one for my pre-K and all of his curriculum. A lot of the curriculum my third grader used is the same as what my fifth grader had used, so I probably am repeating myself a lot. Sorry, apologize. And I am filming these pretty far apart, so I can't even remember what I said in that last video. So hopefully I'm being pretty consistent in my thoughts on the curriculum. I have stuff printed out, so that's what I'm trying to look at and make sure I stay on track. All right, let's start with, we'll try to keep this organized. I'm not always the best at that, but let's start with math. My third grader used Saxon Math 3 this year. She switched from her second grade year using the Good and the Beautiful level 2, which she really enjoyed, but I don't enjoy level 3 from the Good and the Beautiful, so I gave her the option. I said you can keep doing the Good and the Beautiful, or you can switch to Saxon, which she would eventually be switching to anyways for fourth grade and up. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on Saxon Math, I'll link that video down below. So Saxon, this was their first year using Saxon. Saxon Math 3 is different than the older levels, so there was a lot less problems. It did seem not as challenging as the older levels, I will say, but she liked it. We use Nicole the Math Lady, so Nicole teaches the lessons via video. And overall, my daughter really liked it. She didn't have any difficulty transitioning from the Good and the Beautiful to that. She did very, very well throughout the course. And then for supplemental things, I had her use 2 different Kumon workbooks. I had her use the Kumon Multiplication Grade 3 and the Kumon Division Grade 3. I absolutely love those workbooks. They're really good at the fact practice of multiplication. And so her multiplication skills and division skills are really great because of both Saxon and those additional workbooks. So math was a win this year. For science, we used Apologia's Earth Science. So both my daughters, we did that together as a family style. It was our first year using Apologia. I really liked it in the beginning because it was super activity heavy, and that is why I went ahead and chose that curriculum, because it seemed to be very activity heavy. This is what I've shared before. I just feel like the activities themselves were not balanced very well. I feel like our first 3 weeks, we were doing activities, like multiple activities in every single lesson, every single day, to where we got to a point to where we weren't really doing activities, or the activities just didn't make sense to us. And so we would go long periods with no activities. So then it kind of felt like we were just reading a textbook. There were times where I felt like there were topics that I wanted to add on more. And then there were topics that I was like, this is just going over our heads. Nobody's understanding it. So I guess, looking back now, my advice on that is there's not going to ever be a perfect curriculum. And so it's like, don't box yourself in. Like, we have to do exactly what this lesson says. Nothing less, nothing more. And I feel like I was kind of boxed in the beginning of like, you can do whatever you want. Like, why are you limiting yourself? So towards the end of the year, I would either add things on from Teachers Pay Teachers to enhance lessons, find other fun activities on like Pinterest, or if something was going over our heads, I'm like, we don't need to do this. Let's just skip it. And once I got in that mentality, the curriculum was great. Overall, I really enjoyed Apologia. I do see us using other sciences from them in the future. If you have kids that are kindergarten through 6th grade that you want to combine science, it's a really great option. They have a lot of choices. So yeah, I still recommend it. I definitely see us using some of their older levels of science for middle school and high school. For language arts, we used a couple different things. We used IEW Structure and Style Year 1 Level A, and so my third grader was doing this. She did not take to it as quickly as my older daughter. That could be because of the age difference. And 2, my third grader is much more of like a creative writer. And so she, just writes stories on her own. And so there's no struggle getting her to write, and she's pretty good at writing. So I think it was difficult for her in the beginning because it's so structured and like boxed in that somebody who writes creatively can kind of be challenged by that, because she's like, though she would get too caught up in all the rules that needed to be. After she got used to the format, I would say she got a lot better, and it did help her structure her writing a lot more. You know, I've shared, I think I'm going to do a whole video on IEW specifically. We're not using it next year. I don't know how beneficial it would be for us to use it year after year after year, because it's very repetitive. But I do see the benefit. I do see the benefit of having them know the structure of a good paper, some of the tips that they've learned, how to enhance your writing. And so I feel like there may be time in the future where we go to IEW again, but it's not something we're going to use next year. She did handwriting from Zaner Blosser. She did 3C, which is cursive. It is a little bit more of advanced cursive. So if this is your first time having your child learn cursive, I would start with their 2C level from Zaner Blosser to work their way up. It is a very, I want to say like mature cursive, because if you look at, and I'm just going to pick on the Good and the Beautiful because that's what I do, their cursive is not how someone actually ends up writing in cursive. Their cursive is, it's more long and spread out to teach a kid, but that's not realistic. And so I like Zaner Blosser because it's more realistic cursive. The slants are more realistic, and then it has a lot more real world application. They are shown passages in cursive that they have to read through, which I really love, that they actually learn how to read cursive as well. They learn how to fix cursive. There's a lot more practice on proper slanting and proper letter formation. It's all in color. There's like QR codes you can scan. So I believe Zaner Blosser is a very superior handwriting program compared to some others out there. She loved it. Her cursive handwriting is beautiful, and she is moving on to level 4 next year. We did a couple like reading units. We did a reading unit on the book Matilda. We did not like the unit itself, or actually the book. My kids did not enjoy the Matilda book, which was very shocking because we all love the Matilda movie. So that one was a thumbs down. We did a Moving Beyond the Page unit, Iggy's House, which both my girls did together. They loved the book and loved that unit. That's a very good one, especially to talk about racial issues. It was just a great conversation. That book is written in the 60s or 70s, so it's explaining things that my kids only read about in history. And so it was a great book, lots of great discussions. She did Beowulf grammar, so she worked through, I think, she worked through like the last 2 quarters of the Beowulf grammar. She did the other 2 previous to that. I love Beowulf grammar. I think it's a great grammar program. It builds great foundations of grammar. I don't know if she completely finished it this year, so she may start this upcoming school year. She might have like a few lessons left to complete, but hands down, amazing grammar program for her. She absolutely loves little Beowulf the dog and all the activities and everything. She did a standalone reading unit. It was a reading unit I found on Teachers Pay Teachers for the book Pax. She really liked it. It was very like uniformed. So like she knew every day she had vocabulary, answer questions. It was like the same stuff every day. There's no variation in like the activities or work that you did. She said the book was very sad. And so she's like, why would anybody read a sad book on purpose? And I was like, I don't know, it's just different emotions. But she did like the book. She liked the activity. That is what she finished her year with. I think she did another Moving Beyond the Page unit on her own. I think she did something about inventors, which was good. Yeah, I think she learned about like Galileo, a couple other things. She really liked it. It was a really quick one. Like we got done with it in like a week. So there wasn't a lot of work to do in it. And the books were like kind of picture books to read. And so we liked it, but it wasn't really memorable for us. But she did that one on her own. We did another Moving Beyond the Page unit, Poppy, which she really liked the book. The unit, she did not like the owl pellet dissection. She was super grossed out by that. So she could have passed on that, but she loved that unit and all the activities. She also worked through Word Roots, which is a vocabulary and spelling type program. She does not do as well as my older daughter in it because it's just an older concept, I think. So she's actually going to be starting back again through the beginning level of Word Roots when my older daughter moves on to level 1. We read the Tuttle Twins America's History Book 1. My kids love the Tuttle Twins book, so we used that more of just like a reading book that we read through. It was much easier than trying to figure that out as like a curriculum. We did get a little bit more than halfway through Gather Round's U.S. History 2 because I was like, oh, last year we did U.S. History 1. Everything worked out fine. Let's just jump into U.S. History 2. We got through 12 out of 20 lessons, and I don't know what happened. We all just hit blocks, and like we were just done. Like, I don't know if it was the way the Gather Round units are set up. There's a lot of reading, and then activities, or we've been doing American history for 2 years now. I think we're all just done. Like, we just need to learn about something else for a little bit. So that one we didn't really finish it, but I don't want to call it a fail either. It just didn't work for us this year. And I feel like that's it for like main curriculum and stuff that I can like honestly review. I was just looking through like my records from Homeschool Planet, that everything I tracked and printed out. Obviously there was other things that we did. I probably have talked more about that in my monthly updates, but this was a wrap up. Overall, she had a great year. I remember that third grade level. That is really when I felt like a change personally. And I see that in my daughter. She is like in that in between where the little kid playing with toys all the time, moving kind of into that older, some toys aren't cool. She's gotten rid of toys. Her, interests are changing a little bit. A lot more focus on friends is happening. So overall, it was a great year homeschool wise. No huge complaints, to be honest. I don't feel like I made a ton of changes for her. She's pretty easygoing. And so I'm very excited for our upcoming homeschool year when she is a fourth grader. If you have any questions about anything, or if I forgot to say something and you're like, well, what happened to this? Leave it down below in the comments. I'll happily answer any questions. But thanks for watching my third grade homeschool wrap up. Have a great day, guys. Bye.